The billionaire's awakening Eileen rocked gently in the oversized chair tucked into the corner of the nursery. The soft creak of the chair matched the rhythm of the baby's sucking, his tiny mouth pressed desperately against her. His cries had been sharp, broken, and unrelenting until just minutes ago, when she finally lifted him to her chest. Now, though his breath still shuddered, peace had begun to settle over him. She brushed her hand along the baby's soft curls. His cheeks, flushed with hunger moments earlier, now relaxed as he drank. Eileen whispered, her voice low and tender, "There you go, little one. You're safe. You're loved." The nursery was warm and dim, the only light spilling from the small lamp near the crib. Its golden glow illuminated the mural of painted clouds across the wall. This was supposed to be a haven, yet the house beyond these walls always felt cold. The door suddenly creaked open. Eileen froze. "Good God," a furious voice thundered. She looked up. Standing in the doorway, shoulders squared and eyes wide with shock, was Richard Avery, billionaire tycoon, master of empires, and father of the infant in her arms. His face was red, his expensive suit rumpled, as though he had stormed straight from a boardroom. "What in hell are you doing?" His voice cracked through the air. Alina's arms instinctively tightened around the baby. "Mr. Avery, don't you dare call me that right now." He strode across the room like a storm. "What are you doing with my son?" The baby whimpered at the sound, sensing the tension. Eileen soothed him with soft humming. Richard's jaw clenched as his eyes landed on her chest. His face twisted with rage. "You're feeding him." Alina's voice was calm, though her pulse raced. "He was hungry." "Hungry." Richard's voice boomed. "And your answer was this." He gestured violently. "You think I want my son nursed by you." The baby startled at the anger, but Eileen rocked him gently, refusing to flinch. "You're making..." Richard's words faltered into something darker, uglier. His throat bobbed, and then the venom spilled. "You'll make him back." The silence that followed was heavier than the shout. Alina's dark eyes didn't waver. She simply held the child closer, letting the weight of his words hang in the air. Her voice was soft, but cutting. "What I gave him was food, life, nothing more." Richard's fist slammed into the wall so hard the frame rattled. "Do you know who I am? Do you know what people would say if they found out? You've lost your place, Eileen. You were brought here to clean, to serve, not to play mother." Eileen stroked the baby's hair as his eyes fluttered shut. "And where were you last night when he cried 4 hours? She asked, her tone unshaken. "Where were you when his tiny body shook with hunger? You poured yourself another drink. You shut the door." Richard stiffened. "You're out of line." Her eyes flashed with fire she had kept buried for months. "No. What's out of line is a father who fears his child's skin more than he fears his child's hunger." He stared at her, stunned that she would dare. "You sound like your father." She pressed on, her voice like a blade. "Pride wrapped around you like armor, keeping you blind. But being a father isn't pride. It isn't wealth. It's presence. It's touch. It's love." The baby sighed against her chest, slipping into sleep. She kissed his forehead gently. Richard's throat tightened. His fists, once trembling with fury, now shook with something else. "Shame. You love him, don't you?" he whispered hoarsely. "You think he's yours." Eileen looked up at last, meeting his stare. "He doesn't belong to me. He doesn't even belong to you. He belongs to himself. But until he can stand on his own, someone has to show up. Someone has to care. And right now, it isn't you." The words pierced him like nails. For the first time in years, Richard Avery, who could silence an entire boardroom with one glare, had no words. His chest heaved. His pride faltered. "I lost a daughter once," Eileen continued, her voice trembling but unbroken. "A baby girl with curls like sunshine. She died before her first birthday. Do you know what it feels like to have milk in your body, but no child to drink it? To hear phantom cries in the night that never come from the crib? I fed your son because I couldn't watch him starve the way mine did." Richard staggered back as if struck. His powerful frame suddenly looked smaller, weaker. "My wife," his voice cracked, breaking open years of silence. "When she died, I saw the emptiness in her eyes. It hollowed me out. I swore I'd never feel that again." I locked myself away from anything that could break me. But this boy," he looked down, fist trembling. "He terrifies me more than any empire I've built." Ailina stepped closer, still holding the sleeping child. "Do you want to be his father, Richard? Because a father doesn't hide. A father doesn't measure his child's worth in skin or status. A father shows up. That's all he needs from you." He swallowed hard, every defense head built over decades cracking. "I don't know how." "Then learn," she said, simple and firm. She guided his arms forward and gently placed the baby into them. Richard froze, stiff and terrified. But the moment the small body pressed against his chest, something shifted. The baby stirred, opening his blue-grey eyes, locking onto his father with innocent trust. Richard's walls collapsed, tears he hadn't shed since his wife's funeral broke free. He sank into the nursery chair, clutching his son as if afraid the world might steal him away. His sobs were jagged, raw, unpracticed, but real. Ailina stood silently, not as a maid, not as a servant, but as a witness to a man finally breaking where he most needed to. Richard pressed his lips to his son's hair. His voice, cracked but steady, whispered, "I'm here. I won't let you go. Not ever." For the first time, silence in the Avery mansion wasn't cold. It was healing. The days that followed brought change. Richard found himself drawn to the nursery at night, lingering by the crib even after the baby fell asleep. He learned to hold the bottle, awkward at first, then with growing confidence. He walked the halls at dawn with his son cradled to his chest, learning the rhythm of fatherhood. Ailina guided when asked, but never intruded. She no longer looked at Richard with fear, but with measured respect. One evening, he stood over the crib, watching his son breathe. The small rise and fall of the child's chest felt more powerful than any quarterly report, more precious than any deal. He turned toward Ailina, who hovered in the doorway as always. His eyes, red but alive, met hers. 4 years I thought strength meant never bending, he admitted, voice thick. But tonight I learned real strength is letting yourself break. Ailina nodded softly. Your son taught you that. All I did was make sure you could hear him. Richard looked down at his child again. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to, she said. Just be his father. That's thanks enough. Weeks turned 2 months. Richard Avery's empire still thrived, but he no longer spent his nights buried in contracts. He was in the nursery, sometimes with Ailina nearby, sometimes alone, discovering what it meant to be present. One late night, Ailina passed the doorway and stopped. Richard was asleep in the rocking chair, his son resting on his chest. His once pristine suit jacket was wrinkled, his tie loosened. Yet he had never looked more human. For the first time since her daughter's death, Ailina felt peace. She didn't need gratitude. She didn't need acknowledgement. Watching Richard Avery weep into his son's hair, whispering, I'm here, was victory enough. And for Richard, the man who once believed power was measured in billions, he finally understood true wealth measured in breaths, in cries, in the warmth of a small body that trusted him completely. The Avery mansion was still grand, but its halls were no longer hollow. A father's footsteps now echoed alongside the cries of a child, and for the first time since tragedy stole his wife, Richard Avery wasn't just a billionaire, he was a father.